things first, we're going viral. Big Ben made his preseason debut Sunday night in Tennessee and hooked up with Juju for a touchdown. But it was a special moment before the game that caught a lot of people's attention. Check out Ryan Shazier playing catch, helping the squad warm up. Just 2 years ago, there were doubts he'd ever walk again. See, nice to see this?
Oh, man, not a good sight for me. I watched him play high school football there in South Florida. Then he goes to Ohio State, All-American there, high draft pick. He goes to Pittsburgh Steelers, known for their linebackers, legendary, and no, not good for me. This is not a game that I expect to be limping from, let alone being partially paralyzed on the field. No, I like to remember him as a kid that I saw.
The only point I'll make is that I totally understand what you're saying, which is the last time we saw him on the field, he was maybe on the way to winning Defensive Player of the Year. But then we saw him 9 months later, and it was a shock that he could barely, with assistance, get across the stage at the NFL draft. This, to me, it was great in this regard. Even if football's done, he can now, it would appear, live a relatively normal, healthy life. And that was really in question, that moment when he was carted off the field. So the progress there and the way the Steelers have kept him within the family and embraced him, he's been on the sidelines, seems to be some form of coach or assistant with them, I think is outstanding in that regard.
All right, good stuff. We'll get to Aaron Rodgers' comments on Andrew Luck in just a second, but first, a couple of highlights from last night. CFL Hamilton Tiger Cats wideout Jalen Ackland with a great adjustment and catch.
That's the way the season's going for BC. My son plays for BC up there. Beautiful views up there. Team not a good view this season. Of course, DB's got it picked off. Wide receiver, ball bouncing in his hand on the other side. This is probably a little bit better than the one my man made in the Super Bowl.
Edelman, the Edelman catch in the Super Bowl is exactly what I was thinking of right there, 100%.
You thought he could get up and keep running, though?
I did, though. I didn't think he got touched.
More from the CFL. Montreal Alouette receiver DeVere Posey diving backwards to make that catch.
DeVere Posey, I saw him in Houston when I lived there, and he got drafted by the Texans. C saw him before that when he played his college football at
the Ohio State, from Cincinnati, Ohio. All-American receiver in high school, big-time recruit there, high draft pick in the NFL, didn't all work out there. Also, he led Toronto to a Grey Cup championship a couple years ago.
At Raiders practice, Hard Knocks star Hunter Renfrow shaking the defender, stretching out to make a great catch.
This is usually more C's-lane than mine, but I'm sorry, production staff. Well, how does this make the show? Yeah, this ain't no real big play. Just because we like Hunter Renfrow, because Jenna likes Hard Knocks?
Yeah.
Because he was a star at Clemson?
Nice catch.
That is pedestrian.
Understated.
Okay,
really
none of that's true. You're just...
No, that's all true. No. I watch Hard Knocks.
No, he's just a little scrappy coach's son.
He's great.
That's why you like him.
Finally, high school football in Virginia, Benedictine Prep. Quarterback Jay Woolfolk with an incredible 39-yard touchdown run keeps on chucking.
It was a great play by this high school kid. I love the high school highlights. The sideline, the kind of the shaky footage. I love it, man. It was great. We made 6 people miss on this play.
Yeah, Mike plays college football at Marshall, has one offer.
Oh.
Very nice. On Saturday, on Saturday, Andrew Luck shocked the sports world by announcing his retirement from the NFL at age 29. Many around the league chimed in, voiced their support for Luck's decision. Aaron Rodgers was asked how he felt about the Colts fans booing Luck, and Aaron Rodgers didn't hold back. Take a listen.
I thought it was pretty disgusting. You know, he's making a really tough decision. And even before that, you know, he makes a decision. I don't know why that doesn't stay in-house to kind of protect him a little bit. Although, when I think about it, I thought it would have been, you know, more of a standing ovation type thing and a thank you than boos. But I said it this morning, I 100% respect him immensely for his decision. I salute him for choosing, you know, quality of life. He's a fantastic player. He had a great career, and he's got a lot to be proud of. What he went through to get himself back on the field is what it means to be a leader, and I'm excited for him, and I think what he did is actually very selfless, not selfish.
Strong words by Andrew Luck there. CC, did the Colts do enough to support Andrew Luck during his 7 years there in Indy?
No, the reason why we have the fans booing is because their lack of support for Andrew Luck. They knocked the football out of him. He said he had gone through a cycle of 4 years, injury, rehab, surgeries. How many painkillers do you think he took in there? How many sleepless nights do you think he had in there? How many times did you think he questioned, you know something? I don't know if I'm cut out to play football. So him making his announcement is not the first time he thought about quitting football. He thought about it before he made the comeback from the other shoulder injury. He didn't think he was going to be able to play then. And now to have an injury that thought it was something minor and for it to be able to turn into something major, no, they didn't support him. You have potentially the first or second most talented player you've ever had in the organization outside of Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning had some type of discomfort with his neck. It didn't come from them not protecting him, them having a bad system. No, it just came from the wear and tear of playing the game and throwing the football. Andrew Luck's came from me getting hit by them, by you not putting any resources in front of me to keep them from hitting me. And that's the reason why Andrew Luck, one of the brightest kids we've ever had play in the NFL, that's why we have him ending his career before he gets to his 30th birthday.
Much like after Kevin Durant's injury, we talked about, well, who's to blame? Who shares the blame? And it was a lot of people were involved. There's a lot of people that are guilty of Andrew Luck's career ending the way it ended.
And it is a great comparison with Kevin Durant. But the thing about Kevin Durant, at the end, Kevin Durant said, no, it wasn't the organization's fault. It was all in my hands. I had the information. It was all my fault. I guarantee you, Andrew Luck will not be saying the same thing.
Well, and even if he does, it won't be true. He takes the high road so often that I don't think he's going to. He went 7 years without ever throwing anyone under the bus. But I've talked a lot about how I think having a great offensive line in this league can sometimes be overrated, but having an awful offensive line can ruin everything. And that's what Luck had repeatedly, really every year he played until this past season. And we saw what he was able to do this past season once he got fully healthy. He's one of 10 quarterbacks in NFL history who started at least 50 games and never had a season with a top 10 rush offense. There's one other name on that list that jumps out at you, because it's guys like Tim Couch and John Kitna and David Carr, a lot of pedestrian names. But the non-pedestrian name on that list is Dan Marino. And Dan Marino also has something in common with Andrew Luck in this regard. You look at him as talented as anyone who's ever played, but disappointed in this regard. Made the Super Bowl in year 2, never made it back. Like, it wasn't just a lack of offensive line. It was lack of a running game. It was early in his career, lack of a defense. It was the lack of continuity at the head coach position. It was so many things where it takes, barring one awful, terrible career-ending injury, it takes a village, if you will, to ruin a career of Andrew Luck's. It can't just be one person. It can't just be one mistake. It's year after year mistakes. It's year after year mismanagement. The one thing we haven't talked about in this regard, and it's one of the reasons I thought of Kevin Durant, is what about the training staff? What about the misdiagnosis or slow diagnosis of the shoulder injury? What about Luck having to travel to Europe to have procedures done? What about if this calf strain back in March could have been dealt with better earlier to where he didn't feel like, I'm on this cycle again of pain, rehab, injury? At any point, could someone have, for lack of a better term, cauterized this wound to where he did get back out there? He did remember how fun it is to play on a good team under Frank Reich, where he doesn't have to do everything, and can get past this moment of his career to have a second consecutive healthy season. That's what to me will be one of the great what-ifs in modern sports history.
Do you agree with that there should be blame placed on the training staff? Has anyone looked into it?
Well, the only thing that I would say to debate that point is that Andrew Luck took a lot of blame for the first rehab. Said he did things wrong. He took a lot of, I pushed myself when I should have been resting, and they might have advised him to do something else. He took the other route from a rehab standpoint, but collectively, from a management standpoint, I don't know where Ryan Grigson is today, but he can't be feeling good. I tried to reach out to Coach Pagano. I know Coach Pagano tried to protect Andrew and tried to put in a system where he would get rid of the football. But the players they put in front of Andrew Luck, from 2012 to 2017, he was hit more than any other quarterback in the league. Now, somebody's got to be able to take blame for that. And Andrew, I mean, I know he's got his degree from Stanford. They don't have dumb guys at Stanford. So for me, he can only take a small part of that blame, trying to win games and holding on to the football. So collectively, the medical staff, I would be looking. If I own the team, I would be looking at the medical staff. I've already looked at Grigson and determined his fate by bringing Ballard over to be my new general manager.
But the other element is, when you take almost even a broader look at this, the Indianapolis Colts were shockingly fortunate that they were just absolutely awful. Maybe the 2 best years in the last 30 to be absolutely awful. They were just terrible the year before, after being mediocre the prior season, the year before Peyton Manning comes back. And by the way, Peyton Manning could have come out a year earlier and didn't. And then Andrew Luck, the next generational talent, he could have come out a year earlier when the Panthers had the pick. He didn't. They were just awful the year they needed to get those 2 guys. And to have 1 Super Bowl victory and 2 appearances total is shocking when you have almost 25 uninterrupted years of Manning to Luck.
Colin Cowherd actually made an interesting point about that. Said, you know, Tom Brady came into the league with a great coach and a great team who had all the pieces already fit into place, and he just had to go play. You know, Andrew Luck comes into the league with a disastrous team where he had to really patch it and make it go. Imagine what he would be, or where he would be today if he had been
Chris's
placed.
system players.
Yep.
That so much of it is dependent on where you go and the luck of the draw on that.
All right, we'll take a break. Coming up, is a Super Bowl hangover inevitable for the Rams? We'll discuss next on First Things First.
Did you see Nick's eye when you said Colin
Oh, my
Cowherd?
God, I knew that was coming.
Start fluttering.